No, veniaci Spitzer, dajcie Spitzer. I've just arrived at an impact site where an Iranian missile hit earlier today, and you can see a massive crater right there behind me. And rescue workers still searching for people possibly missing under the rubble, and you can get an idea of how massive that blast must have been. If you look up there, this was a car that was propelled up there. This was by far the most significant impact today since Iran began retaliating after Israel and the US began attacking Iran this morning.
An Iranian strike deep in the heart of Tel Aviv. For the fifth straight day, the skies above the city lit up as Israel's air defense system intercepted one Iranian missile after another.
Tel Aviv is taking a huge beating, and mainstream
Shalom. Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Harakak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone that rule well, and peace and salutations to the elect pushing this truth throughout the four corners of the earth, waking up the rest of the elect so Yahweh Shai can return speedily and save us up on out of this wicked world, man. And we're witnessing this wicked world fall and crumble, all right, before our eyes, man. Okay, and that's the topic of this lesson, man. You know, Tel Aviv, all right, these small hats, all right, Amalek, all right, the grandson of Esau, okay, which makes him an Edomite, you know, himself. Talking about these fake JEWs. Okay. You know, who say they are Jews but are not, but do lie, like the scriptures say. You know, they're getting hit. They're finally getting struck. You know, their land, well, which is actually our land, but these people are actually getting touched. All right. For all these centuries and decades, for all these decades, man, Israel, and also America, because Israel and America are basically the same thing. It's just Israel is in the Middle East, you know, and America's over here in the West. You know, same thing, man, you know, because America's ran and controlled by these Israeli people, you know, the higher ups, the elites, okay. Epstein, he was a Jew, all right. Donald Trump, he's a Jew, okay. All right. All these politicians are Jews. They believe in the Jewish Talmud and philosophy and ways of living, man, which is wicked. All right, that Talmud. If you ever read the Talmud, it's fucked up, man. All right, it's a fucked up book, and at the same time, they proclaim themselves to be the actual children of the Bible, the chosen people of the Bible of the Lord Yahweh Shai, which are the Israelites. All right, that's why they call themselves Jewish, because they're not actually real real Jews of the tribe of Judah, you know. And what about all the other 11 tribes? Benjamin, Levi, Issachar, Naphtali, Simeon, all right, Reuben, Asher, you know, etc. Gad, you know, Zebulon, you know. What about the other tribes? You know. Anyway, but yeah, you know, the topic of this lesson is about, you know, hey man, these people are being touched finally, man, because all these decades, you know, they're the ones touching all these other countries, bombing them, you know, invading them, spreading wickedness and disease and, you know, and evil and destruction for all these decades on these other countries, bombing the Middle East. They've been bombing the Middle East, all right. You know, specifically, the people that they used to live in Gaza, okay, the Palestinians, they literally mass unalived them, destroyed their whole land, man, all right, and their whole, you know, almost unalived all of them, but they didn't, you know, but damn, man, you know, they're bombing them continuously, every day, for years, they were bombing them, and unaliving them in mass numbers, raping them, or raping the men and women and all that, you know. You know, that's why they were saying free Palestine, you know, because those Palestinians were getting messed up by these Israeli people. Now look, these Israelis are finally getting messed up by the Carmenians, the Iranians, the ancient Persians, you know. They're getting bombed, okay? And it's not stopping, and it's not gonna stop. It's gonna reach all the way over here to America, okay? America and Israel is gonna be bombed and messed up, destroyed, okay? By nuclear destruction, okay? It's prophesied, man. All right? This is Obadiah 1:15. This is, for the day of the Lord is near upon all the heathen, okay? As thou hast done, it shall be done unto thee. Thy reward shall return upon thine own head. All right, so the same things that these heathens, that these wicked Amalekites, Edomites have been doing to everybody, not just the other heathens, but specifically the Israelites, the same shit's going to be done unto them. That's why the scriptures say, do double unto her, you know, according to her iniquities, unto what they've done unto us. So in the kingdom of heaven, all right, we're gonna punish them and judge them double, reward them double for what they did unto us. All right, and these Edomites have been doing so much wickedness to the Lord's people throughout history. Okay, just do your research. You don't need to do very much research to find out how much wicked shit that they done to us blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. All right. And these are the beginning stages of the reward returning on their own head. What they did to the whole world, it's going to happen unto them. All right, they've been bombing the Palestinians, all right, in those neighboring countries and whatnot, all right, for years. Look what's happening to them, all right. And they're begging for America, and America's helping them, but they're not helping at all, you know. They're not doing a very good job. All the military bases over there in the Middle East are fucked up, destroyed by Iran, you know. The United States are so stupid, they're bombing pictures of airplanes on the ground, you know. And Donald Trump is complaining about, you know, them short on military weapons and defenses, missiles and whatnot, because there's counter missiles. You know, there's missiles, attack missiles, offensive missiles, then there's counter missiles. Let me show you this TikTok.
First of all, these drones are cheap. They're easy to make. They make about 500 a day. Okay? And estimates are about there's 80,000 right now that the Iranians have. So they can go on for a long, long time. Okay, and one of these drones, again, can knock out a desalination plant, it can knock out an oil field, it can knock out a hotel, it can do a lot of damage. Okay, and it's easily transportable. You can hide it anywhere. You can use it from anywhere. Okay, and that's what the Iranians are using as an offensive weapon. And how do the Americans defend against this? They use something called a THAAD. Right? Right, guys. This is what they use. THAAD. THAAD stands for Thermal High Altitude Air Defense. And they also have like Patriot systems. There's a lot, okay? The thing that you need to know about the system is it's really expensive. This missile, guys, costs $1 million. $1 million. So there's this $50,000 drone coming your way, and you throw a $1 million missile at it, okay? And often these missiles miss, so you have to throw 2 or 3 missiles at it, okay? So you're spending $2 to $3 million on each $50,000 that the Iranians spend. That's kind of silly. Second thing you'll notice is that this thing is really big and really slow. And therefore, you can't really move it around. Therefore, it's pretty easy for the Iranians to spot where this is and attack it. And if one of these things blow up, that's a lot of money, guys. Okay? First of all, these drones are cheap.
So yeah, man, Donald Trump was complaining that they're low on ammunition and whatnot. You know, defense missiles. All right, and Iran is just continuously bombarding. You know, their enemies. All right, where's it at? Back to this TikTok. What does that look like to looks like the scriptures describe as the stars falling from heaven. That's what the scriptures talk about let's get it. Revelation 6 and 13. I might want to start at 12. Revelation 6 and 12, it says, "And I beheld when he had opened the sixth seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood." Okay. The earthquake represents the destruction of these nuclear missiles and the sun going out, you know, because of the missiles covering the sky and the smoke and whatnot covering the sky, man, you know. And the moon became as blood, you know. We're seeing these red blood moons all the time, and plus the smoke mixed with the sky and the air, it makes the sky look red and orange. It's also going to make the sun look orange and red. Verse 13, it says, "And the stars of heaven fell unto the earth, even as a fig tree casteth her untimely figs when she is shaken of a mighty wind." And when a fig tree, all right, is shaken really hard, you know, because of a mighty wind, all right, all those figs fall at the direction of the wind, you know. They don't go all over the place, they go one direction, you know, because of the wind. It goes one direction, mainly. And all those stars is talking about the nuclear, you know, those ICBM, intercontinental ballistic missiles, going to one direction, all right, either America or Israel, you know, specifically America, okay. And all those figs, okay, they go one direction, okay. They're gonna fall, you know. So those stars, you know, those missiles, that they look like stars, and it's gonna look like that, you know. There's gonna be so many shot at America that it's going to cover the sky. That's why it says the sun's going to go black, you know. All right. It says, "And the heaven departed as a scroll when it is rolled together, and every mountain and island were moved out of their places. So, hey, when it talks about the scroll, when it is rolled together, let's talk about the mushroom cloud. We all know what a mushroom cloud is. When a big atom bomb or nuclear bomb hits the earth, the smoke, it curls up in the air like a mushroom, like a scroll is rolled together, roll, it says in every mountain and island were moved out of their places. So America, after World War III, and really just the whole world, like mainly the whole world, every place that's going to be hit by these ICBM nuclear missiles, all right, the geography is going to look different, So that's why it says the mountains and islands were moved out of their place, 2 Ezra 16:13, it says, for strong is his right hand that bendeth the bow. His arrows that he shooteth are sharp and shall not miss. All right, these intercontinental ballistic missiles, all right, they lock on their targets, man. All right, it says when they begin to be shot into the ends of the world. All right, so this isn't talking about no bow and arrow. It's talking about the ICBM, an intercontinental, which means they could be shot from continents over a whole ass ocean away and hit their target, man. They're not going to miss. All right. The Lord's going to allow these missiles to destroy America and turn it into a lake of fire, a continent-sized lake of fire. All right. Amos 1:11 says, thus saith the Lord, for 3 transgressions of Edom, and for 4, I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because he did pursue his brother with the sword, and did cast off all pity, and his anger did tear perpetually, and he kept his wrath forever. So, hey, all right, your punishment is not going to be done, it's not going to prolong anymore, like the scriptures say. The Lord has given this devil bounds that he cannot pass, all right? So the Lord's not going to extend this white man's kingdom any longer than the Lord wants it to extend, okay? It's going to end whenever the Lord wants it, and we're in the beginning stages and signs that it's starting, that it's soon, okay? 2 Ezra, chapter 4 and 25. 26, it says, Then answered he me, and said, the more thou searchest, the more thou shalt marvel, for the world hasteth fast to pass away. And one of those times, all right, this wicked kingdom, this wicked world ruled by the heathens, all right, it's over, man, all right, and cannot comprehend the things that are promised to the righteous in time to come. All right, so these heathens, they don't understand, all right, what time we're in. I mean, they could feel it, but they don't understand that the kingdom of heaven is next. These heathens think, hey, whoever wins this war is going to be the next top dog to rule the world, and whatnot. They're not expecting the Lord to return and establish righteousness on the earth and make his people immortal and rule over these heathens with a rod of iron. Okay? That's what it means when, it says, and cannot comprehend the things that are promised to the righteous in time to come. For this world is full of unrighteousness and infirmities. Okay? Everywhere we look, all right? Iniquity on top of iniquity. All right? of all facets and all types. All right. You know, I could do a 2-day long lesson on all the wickedness that has gone and is going and will continue on happening. All right. Until the Lord returns. But as concerning the things whereof thou asketh me, I will tell thee, for the evil is sown, but the destruction thereof is not yet come. All right, when we're in that time, all right, this kingdom has not utterly been destroyed yet, but it's happening, it's starting. If therefore that which is sown be not turned upside down, all right, this wickedness, if it's not done away with, turned upside down, because the scriptures say, woe to him that maketh, who maketh good evil and say evil is good, you know, roughly paraphrasing, that turns, roughly paraphrasing. And if the place where the evil is sown pass not away, then cannot it come that is sown with good. Okay, talking about the kingdom. All right, so the Lord has to do away with this world. Okay, and every time, or just common sense, the way you purify something is with much affliction and how do you say it? Like, let's say you have a bad stomach, all right, you have to purge it, all right, with these bitter herbs. Okay, you know, if you want bigger muscles, you got to purge your muscle, all right, put it through much affliction, you know, and build it back up. You know, when you want to purify a land, you have to burn it with fire, all right, so it could grow back better, you know. And that's what the Lord's going to do with this world, specifically America, all right. The Lord has to destroy it with fire, burn these wicked people, okay. It says, verse 30, it says, for the grain of evil seed hath been sown in the heart of Adam from the beginning, and how much ungodliness hath it brought up unto this time, and how much shall it yet bring forth until the time of threshing. And that time of threshing is when all hell breaks loose, all right, when the Lord starts really unaliving people in this world in mass numbers. Now, a lot of people are dying already, but it's only going to get worse and worse, all right. Evil is only going to get worse and worse, okay. So yeah, so let me see if I got one more precept. Nah, yeah, I'm gonna end it off right there. I hope this was edifying to you.